Conference record has joined the conference.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Julie Davis. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Julie.
Good. How are you? Good, good. I'm going to put you on speakerphone. Just a second, please. Okay, can you hear me still?
Yes.
Yes. Great, great. Who's on the call so far?
Melissa Moriarty and Sherry Way from Pickerington Elementary.
Well, hi, Melissa. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Who else is on?
Carl Lammers from Kalida Elementary.
Well, good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Julie.
We have several other folks that are going to join us, so let's just wait and hear the beeps. Beautiful day here in the Columbus area. What's it like in Kalida, Carl?
We had quite a bit of wind damage last night with the storms. We had one of the local churches knocked down, a couple homes north of us, but for the most part, everything's calm this morning.
Good, yeah. We had quite a bit of rain and heavy winds. How about you down in Pickerington? I'm in Gahanna, and we were just kind of a little bit north of it. How about you, Melissa? Was it bad there in Pickerington?
This is Sherry answering. It was windy, but we didn't have much of the damage, no.
Okay, good, good. Sirens were going for us for quite a while.
Yep, same here.
Mm-hmm. Morning.
Hi.
Good morning. This is Julie Davis at the OAESA office. Who just joined us?
Mike Medora from Franklin Elementary. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Doing well. Congratulations on being nominated. It's exciting, and hopefully some information on this call will help you and your staffs as you guys are completing the application. I know it's a rigorous process, but what I hear, I've never gone through it personally myself, but what I hear is that it's a really good continuous improvement process. So just keep that in mind as it's busy. That's for sure.
We will, thank you. I also have Amy in here from, I know you met Amy before from Ready Schools, some of the meetings she's
Yeah,
had.
great. Hi, Amy. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good.
Here's what she said to me. She said, I want to use the tree.
All righty. Is Mary on yet? Mary Rakowski?
Amen. She's going to make change.
Well, I know Carl's on. Lisa Frazier is going to join us late, if at all. She's a supervisor now of the early education, several units in the Logan area, and she actually had some sort of emergency this morning that she had to go to a site. So I have her information. I can share it from a couple years ago, and, that was one of the handouts we sent. So if she can join us, she was going to try to do hands-free and call us on her way back from the site. But anyway. All right. Dave, are you on yet? Dave Rogeliner?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll wait a couple more minutes here. We'll just kind of see. Try to honor everybody's time, though. I know it's hard to get school going on a Monday morning and then have time to be on a call. So.
I'm a member, but the only thing I'm doing is I am keeping Pickerington members informed. I'm the liaison for Pickerington. Okay.
Okay, let's see who's on the call, and then we will just go ahead and people can join us, as we go. As I said, to be mindful of everybody's their time. So, Dave or Cindy, are either one of you able to be? Are you on yet? Okay, there are board members that are co-chairs, and Cindy, I knew, had a meeting that she was going to try to join later. Dave is supposed to be on, so he'll probably join us. So I'll just go ahead and try to do the introductions. To date right now, we have sent out 18 packets for nominees to complete the Hall of Fame Award application, and so congratulations to those of you that were nominated. As I was saying, it's an exciting and also a rigorous process, so just to be nominated is a big deal, and so want to do that, and also want to encourage you to keep the faith and get your application in, because what I hear from participants, as I already mentioned, is that it really is a good process for school improvement and dialogue, and really should just tie into a lot of what you're doing already with the Ohio Improvement Process, your Continuous Improvement Plan, and so forth, CCIP. Why don't we just take a minute and just jump in and say who you are on the call, from what school and what district, and then we'll get going with the agenda. So this is kind of awkward when you're on a conference call. We can't see each other, so just then jump in even if everybody starts talking at once.
Hi, I'm Melissa Moriarty, principal at Pickerington Elementary School in Pickerington. And I'm Sherry Way from Pickerington Elementary.
Welcome.
Mary Regkowski from Evening Street in Worthington.
Hi, Mary, a winner
Hey.
from last year, so glad to have you on.
Hi, Mike Medor from principal at Franklin Elementary, Massillon City Schools in Massillon, Ohio. I'm joined by two of my colleagues, Amy Arnold and Pam Piro.
Great, thank you. Welcome, James.
And I'm Carl Lammers from Kalida Elementary, Kalida Local School District in Northwest Ohio, and we were a Hall of Fame winner this past year.
Great. I really appreciate Mary and Carl, you guys being on the call so that you can share the experience that you just went through last year, and both of your schools were such worthy, wonderful recipients of the award, so glad to have you on. Anybody else on the call? Okay. Hopefully some more will join us as we go along, but let's just get on to our agenda here. The purpose of the call is, we did this last year for the first time, just an opportunity for people that were nominated to have the principal and some staff members listen to some past award recipients to hear what process, how they found it to be successful, and the process that they went through. And I do remember some of you were on the call last year, and I think it is helpful to be able to hear some past stories and past examples, and also some toe stubbers. Hey, this did not work, so don't waste your time there. It didn't work for us anyway. So that is the purpose of the call. Another thing of the purpose of the call really is to just walk those of you that are going to be applying, just walk through the process so that the past winners, as well as myself and hopefully Dave, as he's able to join us, can go through some of the changes that have recently happened with the Hall of Fame. And so I'm going to go through those. Last year at this time, at our fall meeting in September for our Hall of Fame committee, the committee came in person to Columbus, and we met all day twice in the fall to really revamp the Hall of Fame Awards. So this what you have been nominated for this year, Melissa and Mike, and your schools, really are under the new application process and under the new award process. And the reason for this was we really wanted to really ramp up the kind of the distinguished aspect of this award, and One of the things that we did is we have a new award flyer. Hopefully you've seen that, but it has all of our awards all together in a very nice, high quality. We had it, not printed in the office here. We had it printed by the company that does our Principal Navigator magazine, and wanted to put all of the application information and information about each award for our Distinguished Principal, our Assistant Principal, Outstanding Assistant Principal, and the Hall of Fame. We wanted that all in one brochure because a big part that we market it to are school boards. We just had a booth last week at the OSBA, the school board's annual conference down at the convention center, where there's like 10,000 attendees. So we gave away a lot of those brochures. Wanted to have, we do a mailer for all the secretaries of every school, pre-K through 8 in the state, and why not have the secretary see each award, right there. So that was a new thing. Another thing that we had was we wanted to make sure that the goals that you're going to be identifying as you fill out your application should be based on the previous school year, because we really felt it wasn't fair to say what are your goals for this year and how have you achieved them when you're filling this out in November and December. Additionally, we are doing the score, then an application score. There's parts of this. You fill out your application, and then our Hall of Fame committee reads the applications, and in order to be considered to have an on-site visit, your application needs to score at least 75 points. And then there will be a score for 75 points for the visit as well. They will be returned to the schools once read and scored, so that you can get some feedback in case you didn't win, or in case you did not get 75 points for either the application part or the on-site visit. This is a big two things that I'm going to say right now. In the past, we only awarded one school per zone. Your governance, OAESA, has divided the state of Ohio into 10 geographical zones. So we would have a Zone 1 through Zone 10 winner and a possible middle school. And we felt that was really limiting us. Last year, as a matter of fact, we had two schools from a zone that were competing, and frankly, if we had this year's policy, they both would have won. But we couldn't. We had to say at that point, there's only one for that zone. So this year, we will be offering the award to the top 11 schools. We could have 3 middle schools, frankly, or we could have all 11 elementaries. They're going to be the top 11 schools, regardless of their building type or their zone. We're just going to say these are the most worthy of the award throughout the state of Ohio. Additionally, a minimum score of the combined from the visit as well as the reading 50 points must be attained. And then also to really ramp up the prestige of this award, your Board of Directors last March voted to allocate in this year's budget and upcoming year's budgets $1,000 cash. Sorry for Carl and Mary, you guys didn't get it, but $1,000 cash to the school to be used at the principal's discretion. So, you can use to bring in a speaker, you can do a celebration at your school, you can bring more staff members to the awards celebration at the Kalahari Resort. Any way you want to use it. Maybe some resources that your school needs as part of your improvement plan. So those are some major changes. We've also, as I said, tried to really ramp up the marketing. Additionally, the conference committee this year has moved the awards from the luncheon on day 2. We're making a banquet on the day, Tuesday, the end of day 1 of the conference. It'll be at 5:30 till 7, and the whole thing will be totally about the awards. There'll be a nice dinner, and we're going to be doing movies, slideshow type of things about each school that wins and the 2 principal winners, or maybe 3, because we can do a distinguished principal for middle school as well. So that would be ideal if we had 3 winners for our principals. We're trying to really, again, ramp up the prestige. We also thought it might be a way to have more of your teachers from the school come. You may have seen that this year we're partnering with Scholastic, so if you have Scholastic dollars, you can use that for your own registration as well as for your teachers, and we have a special rate. We've reduced it, the price for teachers coming. So we're trying to do as many things as we can to get a good celebration there that evening on Tuesday night from 5:30 to 7. And we won't have a keynote speaker or anything. It's really just about the schools and the principals and what's great in schools. So that's the purpose of this call. That's a bit of the review of the changes that we have for the Hall of Fame. And I know I heard some people join. Dave, are you on? Anything else you want to add? Are you on? Nope, just somebody was ringing. Anybody else join the call since we started?
Julie,
All right.
This is Melissa. It sounded like somebody was joining when you were talking about the minimum number of points. Could you repeat that?
Sure. When the Hall of Fame Committee reads the application, and we'll go through the application in a minute, but there are 100 points possible, but in order to be considered for a visit, the applicants have to score 75 points or more on the written application. Likewise, when there's a visit to the school, and the reason that we visit the school is, people can write anything. You just want to make sure that they're walking the talk, and seeing evidence when they're actually visiting. And we have a different committee. We have a Hall of Fame Visitation Committee. They're not the same people that will be reading your applications. So for that, in order to be considered, you have to score at least 75 points on the visit. So there must be a total of 150 points or more in order to be qualified. And then will just be a ranking of what those scores will be, whether it'll be, 162 or 180 or whatever. The top 11 schools throughout the state will win. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, let's actually look at the application so you have an idea of what that is. The main thing that I guess I can say to you is that the front page is which you have received. The front page is where you'll put your demographics, where you put your name of your school levels, again, pre-K through 8th grade, whatever it is. And again, that's not as pertinent anymore because we're not trying to distinguish a middle school winner only, as we did in the past. As I said, it'll be the top 11 schools, no matter what the grade configuration is. And then your demographics of the principal's email and so forth. The number of years as principal of this school, make sure that's in there. And just for our information, how'd you learn about the Hall of Fame Award. And then that you sign, and make sure that your superintendent signs, please, because we really we want to make sure that the superintendent knows that this is a process and that you are being nominated because, as Carl and Mary can say, it's a great opportunity for good PR for your district. In the past, last year particularly, the superintendents really used it as a way to be in front of their school community and, articles in the paper, celebrations at the school, things like that, which it's really important that they're in the loop right from the beginning and that they know that you are competing for this award. And any way that they can help you would be great. So that page is what Joanne keeps, and then she codes your number, and like you'll be number 1 or 3 or whatever, and then she separates that front page from anything that the readers see. When they read it, they will be reading it anonymously. They will not know who is writing it. So when you look at the guidelines, that's on page 2, you want to know that it has 10 parts, and the 10 parts must be completed. All of the applications and information must be postmarked by January 24th, 2014. Anything that's after that deadline will not be accepted. Number 3, we bold it, we put it in caps, we keep repeating it, but just be sure you do not have something that's identifiable. Your school name, district personnel, any information that they would know right away, wow, that's Melissa's school, or wow, that's Mike's school, or something like that. As you can see, 10 points will be deducted for this infraction. Now, not each time. If you, did it several times, we wouldn't do 20 points or something, but 10 points can make a big difference whether you are a winner or not. So make sure that somebody that's not been, advice I've heard from someone has been, if you have somebody that wasn't involved with writing it just read it for that lens. Make sure there's nothing that says Evening Street School. Oh, that's Mary Rakowski's school, you know, something like that. Again, make sure you look at those general directions for completing the application. Bold type each outline heading. We do look for the font. We do look for the double spacing, all that kind of thing. And then you must have 5 copies that are mailed to us. I know that in this day and age of electronic, you know, we've had people say, well, can we just submit one electronically? Well, then that puts, it's easier for you or your secretary to do the 5 copies rather than Joanne doing 20 times 5, you know, right here. So if you don't mind, that really helps your office, the office out here. Principal, as you are, must be a member of OAESA and not currently serving on the board of directors, so we don't want to just be, you know, awarding our leaders. Again, just as I said on the cover sheet, your signature principal as well as your bosses, the superintendent must be on there. Information there about where to mail it. And if there's any questions, contact Joanne Turner. She's worked for the association for over, I'm thinking it's 17 years now. She knows everything, and she'll help you any way that she can, I'm sure. So are there any questions on the process before we actually get into the application?
No questions.
Okay, great. On page 3, the Hall of Fame award criteria, I will say your Hall of Fame committee over the last 3 years has really analyzed this very carefully. And this year we even made some changes because we feel that the principal's role continues to evolve and the instructional aspect of the teachers continues to evolve, especially with OTES and OPES and all the curricular changes coming the way here in Ohio. We want to make sure that the points are weighted to what really you're being asked to do in the building. So they made a few little changes again this year. Section 1 is just information about the school, briefly describing your setting, history of the building, the student body, analysis of the community served. I think for those that read, that really helps them get an idea of the context of where you're coming from. The mission statement and the vision statement, interestingly enough, I mean, it's very important to make sure that you have that and how it guides your decision-making, how it might be evident in your school. And that is something I'll give you advice when the visitation team, they come and they see, is the mission, visible? Do people talk about it? Is it on, folders, or is it somewhere stated or on a plaque or something? However, when I first started, and this was not my decision, but I totally agree with it, I think the mission vision statement was at least 5, if not 10 points. And as the committees have worked through the years, they realized anybody can write anything. What we're really looking at is how is it operationalized. So that's why it's really only 2 points, because that's really just, do you have a mission statement, do you have a vision statement, and how evident is it in your school, and does it guide your decision making? As you can see, number 3 is huge, instructional system, because that's what we're about, the teaching and learning. So each one of those components, as you look through that, the questions that are there, what you're being asked to do, and the methods, your goals. And again, I'm going to reiterate, list your school goals for last year. You can look and say, I would imagine that many of them are the same. You're probably tweaking them for this year, how well you achieved them last year. But we're wanting to honor what you did last year and that you can see the results. And as I said in my introduction, we didn't feel it was fair for you to be filling this out in November and December and judging you on not attaining those goals when the first semester isn't even over. So that's the instructional system. There's ABCD components of that. Section 4 is the highest point because that's what we are about, isn't it? Student achievement. Again, we try to remind you not to put your identifiable information on there. Citing assessment data, different things that you have with that, data consistent with the goals, and it's also showing consistent continuous improvement. And then we try to delineate the different instructional emphases per subject area. Meeting the needs of diverse learners. We try to take out buzzwords like RTI or differentiated instruction and just try to, that's been something we've changed in the last couple of years, the committee has changed, so that it's more inclusive for what you really do, whether it's through the RTI process, whether it's through your, IAT process, however you may do that. Student development, also, good to make sure you include and opportunities for good citizenship that you have with your students. Section 5 is personnel, the staff culture, staff development. Of course, very important, are classified as well as certificated staff, so supporting the staff. 7 is administration, leadership role, professional activities. Certainly list things, as you know, I know you've been active in the association, but try not to put dates like if you were a county rep or you were on a committee or something like that. You just put, served on the early childhood committee or, was involved with the Ready Schools project or something like that. When we have hundreds of people that have been doing that, it's not like it's going to be so identifiable. So we like to see how you've been involved with the association, but again, try not to make it say, I was the county rep in 2011 for Zone 10, something like that. School management, school finance, communications, building safety and management, of course, very important. Section 9, stakeholders, community, and parents and families as partners. And this section 10 is kind of open-ended, what sets your school apart from other schools. And section 11 is 2 points, as we indicated in the, the cover page. Grammar, punctuation, spelling, right fonts, all that kind of stuff does matter. So, but it's 2 points. It's not like it's weighted as heavily as instruction or school improvement or something. So that's the application. We talked about the point assignments when there's a scoring guide, and it goes right along with each one of these categories. So when the Hall of Fame committee comes in January to read your applications, they will have a rubric, and it lists each of the, what you've been asked to do, and it says history of building, 1 point, description of student body, 1 point, analysis of community served, 1 point, for a total of 3 points for the school brief. So it's just tied, it's exactly taken from this longer narrative of the application. And likewise, when they go to visit you, that is their same score sheet as well. So we try to have it really be reflective of what we've asked you to write to. That's the overview of the application and an overview of the point assignment. Are there any questions on the application itself or on the points that we weight?
Not from our end.
All righty, good. How about if we have Carl and Mary kind of share, and then I'll jump in if Lisa's not able to join us. I can give you ideas that she did. Lisa was a winner at Logan Schools, not this past year, but the year before. So, Carl, do you mind kind of just sharing tips and tricks from what you and your school, Kalida Elementary, the process you guys went through last year?
Oh, sure. I'd be glad to. First of all, we've kept putting this application off for many years. Finally, I was talking to the leader of our PTO who nominated us, and I said, yeah, if we're ever going to do it, this was the year. I had some staff retiring at the end of the year, so we decided to go for it. And then we got into the process, and as you just explained, it can be quite lengthy and a little bit overwhelming, but you just dig away at it a little bit at a time, and it wasn't so bad. But you definitely have to get team members involved. You don't want to put all the burden on the administrative staff and the secretary and those types of things. We sold it. We sold it early, saying, this is an honor. We deserve it. I told the staff they deserve it. If you want to get on board with me. So first thing we did was kind of show them the application and all the different areas. I said some of them I can take care of without any help, and go back and find all the documentation for some of these things. But there's definitely areas that I wanted them to be a part of. And so in an email, we introduced it at a staff meeting and then followed up with an email to all of them that there's so many good things going on around here that I just won't be able to remember them all. And so what's going on at your grade level, your classroom levels, what do you recall school-wide, and give me that information. And just from that alone, I probably had a dozen emails of things that I totally forgot about that they wanted to emphasize. So I think to get them involved early and then to update them between now and when you submit it is important. They look at it as a team accomplishment, and I was very happy with their contributions.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you. And you use email as a way that they could just communicate and give you ideas back and forth, right?
Yeah, because just there's so much. They have so many jobs. That way, they could get to it as they could. I'd see them and say, "You have anything else for me?" But I didn't want to put any pressure on some of the teachers who didn't want to do it. But I was very pleased with the ones that did, and I would say over 50% of our staff contributed one way or another to the application.
Great.
Support staff and everything.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I think that's absolutely true. Just having it be a team effort, and it was interesting. I, of course, stay out of the reading of the application or anything about the visits or anything like that, but I can say that several years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, but we had an excellent written application, evidently, and when the team went to visit, we have two team members go. We try to send somebody that's done it, in the past, and then a new visitation committee member. And they independently called me from the school saying, I think I'm at the wrong school. And they didn't know. It'd be like if Mary and Carl had gone, and Mary didn't know Carl was calling me. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, come to find out, the superintendent had written the application. The principal had nothing to do with it, and neither did any of the teachers. And actually, it was a great school, but it was not anything that was written in the application. Isn't that strange? So your idea of, getting everybody involved, and also how can you, as the principal, remember all the different details? And I think it's a great way to, I would build it up that it was a big deal to even be nominated, like your point with the PTA or PTO. I always have at the Ohio Annual PTA Conference, I always have our Distinguished Principal of the Year or principals. A couple of years ago, both of them went do a clinic for us. They always ask me to have somebody do a clinic about, the principal's role with parent organizations, and they get a lot of interest from moms and dads that are wanting to nominate your school. So it's a great source for us to get nominations. So good. Well, thank you. Are there questions for Carl?
Okay, the other thing, Julie, that I would recommend is for those nominees is to go ahead and call the building principals. This was very helpful for me. It put me at ease. Kind of go back into wherever you can find who some of the past winners were, the Hall of Fame schools. And I talked to 3 former Hall of Fame winners, and they were very happy to discuss the whole process with you and give you tips and that type of thing. So don't hesitate to call me if any of the nominees want to, or just somebody else that you can find have been a past winner. I think some of the former principals who have gone through this process just enjoy sharing it with you. So that's not a problem. I called all 3. 2 of them had to call me back, and it just was very satisfying to them, I think, to go through the experience for us. So that's all I have.
Well, that's great advice. The last winners, like Carl and Mary and the others for this year, were in the Fall Navigator, but they're also on our website. I'm looking, where are they on our website? Probably under Program and Resources. Well, Mary starts sharing. I'll look for it so I can show you, because I think that's a great idea, because they've, actually done it. So, okay. Mary, talk about some of the information, the process that you went through at evening school.
All righty. Well, welcome, everybody. Congratulations on the nomination. We were nominated by a parent, and we were very honored that a parent would recognize us. And so the teachers did not see it as another thing to do because they were like, wow, some parent really recognizes what we're doing. The graphic organizer that was sent to you, we used each team member, the teams met and they completed the graphic organizer, so it really was not overwhelming. And our classified staff met and they completed the graphic organizer. So we had 100% participation in the graphic organizer. Once they completed the graphic organizer, I did over the holiday break put everything together, but I also then had a committee of 4 people that helped to read the application for me. But they also had gotten the idea to take pictures to show actually what happens, that it really does happen at Evening Street. So then we had a very nice little booklet that we put together for our visitors when they came to say that we actually really do these things. And they were able to then go take snapshots and pictures of at least 1 or 2 things in each category that we did. So when our guests came, it was like a little notebook, and so it would say leadership role, and then we had some pictures of what happened there. And then when the visitors came, I just stressed we didn't do anything special. That was a day in the life of Evening Street. And it just happened it was in December or February, it was in February. We had crazy things going on, but we always have some crazy things going on. So that is funny because that Julie would say that because they would continually ask the children, now, is this something you always do? Or yes, yes. And we happened to have like our sixth graders were practicing for their musical, and they invited them in, and it was a normal day. And so I think they appreciated that it really was a normal day, and we did not do anything special. Now, I do know that some of the other schools had some children take the visitors around. I thought that probably would have been a nice idea, but I was the one that pretty much did that just because I didn't want to pull children out of class time. But we really saw it as an honor, and it's interesting how once we did receive the honor, the children then had ownership, and they were like, I'm at a Hall of Fame school. I can't act like this because I'm at a Hall of Fame school. So it really was very nice for the entire staff, and everyone did get involved. So I would just say I really found that graphic organizer. Julie had shared that with us last year, and I found that to be very helpful to get everything together. And once you have your teams of teachers doing it, they each have a different blend and add a different twist. So it makes it a little bit easier to put all together.
Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you. And I have to say from my perspective, and then, Dr. Lucy Osbad, who just recently retired from OAESA, but now Mark Jones will be doing it, that is just one of our most wonderful days in this job. I mean, it's a great job. I love it, but it's so fun to get to go to Hall of Fame or distinguished principal, outstanding assistant principal celebrations, whether it's at our conference or, whether last Tuesday I was at the school board's conference, as I mentioned, and your distinguished principal, Cheryl Montag, was honored, and I got to introduce her and talk about the award. And then, often we're invited to go if you're doing some sort of a celebration actually on your site, for the Hall of Fame, or to a school board. For Lisa Frazier's, I went to a school board meeting where they honored her and her school. And, it's just, there's too much these days about what's wrong with public education, and it's just such a great way to promote, yes, there's great things going on in every classroom almost every day throughout the state, and we need to really highlight that. So I really appreciate, Mary and Carl, how you're sharing. It was a team effort, and your application is going to be so much richer when it is a team effort and you have those teacher voices in there, or the custodial voice, or the secretary. Don't forget your classified, getting them involved, because it is, and it's a good thing. Mark and I have just finished zone meetings, all around the state this fall, and what I'm hearing from all of you is, yeah, you like OTUS, but it's killing you, and the idea of people are tired, people are exhausted, and it's just a pump in the arm. Even though it's something more to do, it's just a great thing, and the more that you can promote that, this is an honor to be nominated. It's an honor that we're going to apply, and I think you'll find, whether you win or not, you will find that it's a continuous improvement process. And I will say, I'm in my 6th year now as your executive director, I have learned, I've seen that people, once I've seen the scores, maybe individuals that have applied for one of the principal awards or individual schools, maybe they didn't win the first time, but then they revise it with the feedback and they win the next year. So it's a continuous improvement process often, and it's, as I said, an honor. We did send a graphic organizer that actually this was something that Lisa Frazier did, and so she had it from ideas that she used, and on the first page of it, it said that she met with her staff, discussed the application and options for the process, similar to what Carl and Mary said they did, and then she, again, had an option if they, wanted to meet and do it or brainstorm, and I think they also did the same type of thing where emailing back and forth as Carl did, or she had some keywords that she put on the form. She did have some face-to-face meetings. She had the main idea in the whiteboard on the teacher's lounge. They could add to it. She put stuff in the mailroom, and during their PLC meetings, for collaboration meetings, if they had different notes, just as Carl mentioned, if they thought of something, we should add that to our Hall of Fame committee. And then Lisa did, she did write it all because she wanted to have one voice, but she tried to incorporate what everybody had done. And it's similar to what Carl and Mary saying, not wanting to have more burden on, the teachers. And I do think it probably flows well if you have one person really kind of taking it and trying to write it in one voice. But the graphic organizer is something that you don't have to use at all, but it was something that Lisa used, and it's a way that other people have gone about it, and it's a way that they really took the application and divvied it out and even put the number of points that they're going to get and so forth with that. I was at one school where they said, this was a couple of years ago, they used, they had big chart paper and they made they just had Post-its. People could keep adding Post-its to it. And so anyway, it's a different process. You can customize it to what works for you, but I think the advice of calling former winners, Mary Rakowski and Carl Lammert's here on the phone. There are 2 of them, but we have several others listed and on the website. So and you can call Joanne to get their phone number or their email. I'm sure they'd be willing to help you and give you ideas. So anything else? Any questions that you might have, Mike or Melissa, or your team members?
Julie, this is Dave Robliner. I just joined you. I'm sorry I was
Hi,
late.
Dave. Tried to give him an overview of all the major changes, so it's pretty exciting this year with the cash award and also the big awards banquet now that we're going to do at the Kalahari Resort. And I do encourage you to go. Hopefully you've been seeing the information that we've been sending out, but that teachers can go for a reduced rate of 175, I think, or for just the Wednesday day, the literacy day, $100, and you can use Scholastic dollars for that as well. So how about any other questions that people may have?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Melissa.
Well, don't hesitate to call the office for clarity, or probably even more important, calling Carl or Mary or some of the other past winners, especially if, you kind of get overwhelmed, like, oh, it's discouraging. But the kids are so excited. To Mary's point, I was able to be at her school, and I remember several years ago I was at a school where the PTA had bought T-shirts, so I looked out at a sea of like 400 kids in these yellow T-shirts, OAESA Hall of Fame school. I mean, it's a neat honor, and so I really congratulate you again for being nominated. I thank you, Mary and Carl, for taking time out of your busy day to share, and good luck to you at your Franklin Elementary and also at Pickerington Elementary, and if anyone else has joined us. Dave, is there anything you want to add?
I, for the sake of everybody, not at this time since I came in late. Sorry about that, everybody.
All right, but we encourage you to get the application in and wish you all the best, and thanks again.
All right, good luck.
Thank you. All right, bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
The leader has disconnected. The conference will now end.